y'all? It's your Queen Pimp Sun Kids coming through right quick, right fast with a Crowned commentary. And today's Crowned commentary is focused around some of the things that I want to get off my chest and kind of rant about concerning the Oscars. So, real quick, right fast, we're going to cover not only the Angela Bassett situation, but we also gonna cover this whole first black situation that the Oscars has going on, because it's also, you know what I'm saying, very evident that the Oscars has a black problem. So we're gonna start off with this first black situation. And it's going to be real simply stated. So what we have here is an article from Variety News. And the person that did the article is, gosh, I hope I say their last name right, okay? But this article is by Jazz Tangay. I hope I said it right, but I want to give them their credit or whatever. And I also want to be clear. This is no tea, no shade to Ruth Carter. There's no tea, no shade to any first blacks of anything. No tea, no shade to Variety. No tea, no shade to the person who made this article. It's all tea, all shade to the Academy of the Oscars. And what I mean by that is the people who are setting the structure and making the decisions about these awards and who they are given to. And this is not to say at all that, people who've been awarded don't deserve their awards. However, when you look at how much influence people of color in general, specifically black people, have in theater, acting, music, modeling, fashion, makeup, hair. A lot of folks don't want to hear it, but many, if not all of those things, structured, invented by, created by, trailblazed by, founded by, built by, and on the backs of black people and people of color. So, when we get to these award shows, and you know what I'm saying, you could say the whole, that, they don't see it for the black artists and this and that, and we gotta make our own stuff. Absolutely all that. But let's be clear. It's absolutely ridiculous and shameful that we are in 2023 and black people are still having to fight and rant and all of this about not getting their flowers. It makes absolutely no sense that whoever is, doing the pickings for these awards and all of this is supposed to be so educated and, competent on their job and what it is their job to do. But it's so hard for black people to be awarded at these award shows. It's not making sense to me. It's not making sense to me. It's not making sense to me why it's 2023, 2015. Even in the early 2000s, y'all talking about first black this and first black that. First black woman to win 2 Oscars. Are you serious? And it reminds me of a particular section in this book called Brainwashed by Tom Burrell. I hope, because sometimes I get the Tim author and the Tom author mixed up, but it's Tom Burrell. I'll put the link to the book in the comments. But it's a book by Tom Burrell called Brainwashed, and there's a section in the book that talks about exceptional exceptions, and it's basically a racist systematic tactic to only award certain black people, those who fall within the lines or the box of being non-threatening, if you will. And it's kind of like a house Negro, field Negro type thing. If they only give awards to these specific black people and these specific types of black people, not only does it make the other black people go harder, but it creates a fracture on people's self-worth. The people who are not being awarded constantly, it creates a fracture on their self-worth, makes them want to go harder for approval. And for the people who are awarded, it can create a sense of distortion and an inflated sense of importance. It makes them feel like they're more special than those other black people over there. Now, I'm not saying that Ruth or any other black people that's gotten an Oscar is walking around feeling like they better than other black people. However, when you really think about how a lot of people in general will do that thing where, and once again, I'm not talking about nobody specific, I'm just giving some examples, because this type of thing can also happen in a multitude of other fields. When you have people, black people, people of color, that have been awarded, that have been promoted and all this, that, and the third, and you ask them certain questions about like the racial divides and all of that, and they'll say things like, oh, they're just not working hard enough. That's where that comes from. It comes from that exceptional exception divide and conquer tactic, because you've created an illusion of the steps to success. So those people who've been awarded may deserve their awards, but at the same time, some of them have only been given awards to spite a whole group of other people, and then they put things in their ear after they win and this and that to inflate that ego narrative and rhetoric of, oh, these other people just aren't working hard enough. When no, it's divide and conquer tactics. All of y'all are working hard enough. All of y'all deserve y'all awards, deserve y'all flowers. But you were chosen because you stayed in line. Either you stayed in line, or it was literally just done to spite somebody else who didn't, quote unquote, stay in line. And like I kind of already said before, it's an absolute shame to be in 2023 and these organizations are still proud to say first black this, first black that, when everything that you do and everything that you stand for is off the backs of black people, influenced and inspired by black people. But you don't want to award black people. That makes absolutely no sense. That makes absolutely no sense that the industry is filled with drastically talented black people, and we in 2023, and y'all still talking about first black this and first black that. And then you wonder why Angela Bassett is looking the way that she is when she is snubbed once again. Perfectly segueing on into that topic, because, and this ties into kind of what I was just saying about the exceptional exceptions and staying in line. So let me tell you my perspective of how I feel like Angela Bassett has not stayed in line, quote unquote. So one reason why Angela Bassett is a major inspiration to me is because she has not been typecasted. She's played a variety of roles. She's played literally every woman except the weak, docile, beaten down, doesn't win version. Complacent version, representation of a woman. Yes, she's played characters who have experienced abuse, who've experienced their rights being violated, who've experienced hardships and all of that. But it doesn't matter, because no matter what character she plays, no matter what that character goes through, they come out on top in the end, and they fight for themselves, and they defeat the villain, and they conquer the demon within in order to prosper in the end. And what I'm putting together for you, my perspective of how Angela has not, quote unquote, stayed in line. There's this thing in script writing, if you will, in film and theater, that happened more so, back in the day and all of that. But the bombshell trope, where the sexually liberated, confident, no nonsense, beautiful woman who may be promiscuous or may just be very independent and not out here centering her life around a man. And a lot of movies, shows, plays, especially back in the day, that character would either end up being killed, imprisoned, or sexually violated by the end of the movie. And what that is a type of propaganda to influence women to not be strong, to not be independent, to not be sexually liberated, to not be confident, to not be anything else other than male-centered, docile, weak, and complacent. Basically sending a message that if you be anything other than docile, weak, and complacent, then this is what is going to happen to you at the hands of a man and at the hands of society. And with that being said, Angela Bassett is a dark, brown-skinned black woman. She's not the darkest black woman, but she is on the spectrum of dark skin. And I can't remember the actress's name right now, but I believe she was the first black woman to win an Oscar. And it was in the role of her playing a maid. And it basically set the tone and made it very apparent that one of the only ways for black people to get Oscars is to play something subservient or someone who, has been beaten down. So a maid, a slave, a servant, or someone who lived a life having dynamics of a slave or servant being beaten down and trodden on by society. Willfully. Or sometimes not willfully, but just forced into it by society, and they, go with it in order to survive and have an ounce of peace. And so you can take that with, and if I'm not mistaken, didn't Viola Davis, or was it Octavia Spencer? It was Octavia Spencer got the Oscar for The Help. And Octavia Spencer has played a multitude of roles where she could have deserved the Oscar, but she didn't get that Oscar until she played a maid. Interesting. Also, when I did a bit of research, I saw that a lot of black people that have gotten Oscars are more so people that were on writing teams, costume design, and shit like that. Not really the actors and actresses, especially, the black women actresses. And so I'm also saying all of that to say, if Angela Bassett played a maid or played some weak, docile, complacent character, I bet you they give her the Oscar then. Because I can also about bet you that Angela has it in her contract that if she plays a character that goes through any type of abuse or oppression or anything of that nature, that they have to come out on top in the end. They have to be a character that fights back and conquers all in the end. And people don't like when you stand up for yourself and protect your image and protect your purpose and protect your passion like that. Because when you're an actress, it's really not about you. It's about the message that you want to send and the type of representation and the type of inspiration that you want to be for your audience, your target audience. And I've watched and listened to a multitude of Angela Bassett interviews and her just, talking about different things in her career, her personal life, and all of that. And Angela Bassett, Leo, gang, definitely has set an intent in her career to be a balanced, well-rounded representation of women, Black women to be exact. And what I have noticed, not just in film and television and theater and all of that, I've also noticed it in reality TV and in real life. There are a lot of people who have these racial and colorist biases where they do not want to see Black women being strong. And I'm not talking about the strong Black women trope. You don't cry, you don't do this. That's not what I'm talking about. When I say strong, I mean being able to be vulnerable and empowered and empowering all at the same time. That's strength. Because it takes strength to cry. It takes strength to allow yourself to go through those not so good emotions, those uncomfortable emotions, those embarrassing moments, enough to allow yourself to come out on the other side and still smile. And to be honest about the imperfect moments. And the roles that Angela Bassett has played has definitely, Bernadine had some very embarrassing down moments. Anna Mae Bullock, Tina Turner, had some very embarrassing down moments. How Stella Got a Groove Back. That character had embarrassing, down, depressing moments. Rosa Parks, I could go through the list. Many of the women that she's played had blue periods. If you know anything about Picasso or that form of art, then you know what I'm talking about when I say a blue period. A depressive period of despair. And showing that character, showing Angela putting into the character, doing the work and being transparent enough as herself to bring transparency to the characters that she plays, for us to see those raw emotions and have a clear understanding of what her characters are going through in these downtrodden moments, so that when we see their uprise, when we see their redemption stage, it makes all the difference. And you on that ride with her. You on that ride with the character that she is playing. And with all of that being said, I'm going to say it again. They don't want to give Angela that award, in my opinion, from my observation, because they don't like that she represents well-rounded, strong, vulnerable, still empowered Black woman, Black women. It's the same response, I feel like, that happens for Meg Thee Stallion. The only difference is because Meg is a rapper and she has a different aesthetic and branding, people are definitely more quicker to approach her disrespectfully, because people's biases, they gonna put Angela on a different pedestal and on a different standard because of her brand and how she presents herself more maternally. Even, still presenting her youthful and, her sensual and sexually liberated elements, but for the most part, maternal, regal, that type. But the same way people hate Meg because of what she represents, which is ultimately the bombshell. Intelligent, empowered, outspoken, sexually liberated, talented, gifted, independent, not centering her life and her value around a man. And she pops her shit unapologetically. They don't like what she represents because they don't like how she is inspiring and empowering women and influencing them to snap out of the dick drunk, oppressed, willfully oppressed by patriarchy mindset and functionality. They don't like that her presence and her purpose and her passion and the message that she sends out snaps women out of that, specifically black women. And if they award Angela, they will be validating the message that she sends with the characters that she plays and how she arranges her contracts and how she carries herself. They will be validating the message and the representation that she is, because they don't want black women to realize their worth. They don't want black women to realize that they can be every woman and still be magical and still be strong and still be human, still be vulnerable, still be delicate, still be dainty and feminine, all in the strength, all at the same time. Dual, well-rounded. And I feel like if they give her an award, it will be validating that shit is okay. And even though it is okay, even though it should be okay, they don't want black women to know that that's okay. They don't want black women to feel like it's a good thing to be out here being confident and being everything that you are as you are. No, they want to continue to see black women as maids. And if not maids, some trashy representation. And it brings to mind too. And I may have to watch the movie again to really confirm and be confident in this particular example that I'm about to give. But I feel like it's coming to me intuitively for a reason. But Jennifer Hudson received an Oscar for playing Effie White. And while that character was very much so a powerhouse character, she was kind of beaten and broken down by the industry in simple terms, in that character, in the movie and in the play. And the imagery that is given is that in order for her to win, she had to be completely stripped down. She had to be completely, quote unquote, humbled to a more soft-spoken version of herself. Because when she was standing up for herself in the beginning, when she was telling it like it is, not true enough, she had her flaws, okay? But at the same time, she wasn't tripping in the beginning. She was peeping the fuck shit that was going on and she was calling it out. And they didn't like her for that. And they bullied and oppressed her for that and essentially kicked her out the group for that. Not only for that, but because they couldn't appreciate her aesthetic. And so the character, Effie White, goes through this very humbling blue period. And we honestly don't ever see that bodacious, loud and proud, sassy side of herself really come out ever again in the movie. So it's like they're showing you that dark-skinned black women, specifically dark-skinned heavyset black women in this case, can't be loud and proud. They can't say what they see. They can't be assertive and take initiative over protecting themselves or be verbal about their emotions and what they feel. And not to mention, Effie was pregnant. And nobody was trying to listen to her. Nobody was trying to hear her out. So she had to be humbled. She had to be stripped down in order to win and in order to get appreciation. And they wouldn't listen to her. It took Beyonce's character, the more quote-unquote palatable character, the more quote-unquote aesthetically pleasing character, to speak out and to take that initiative to bring Effie back into the fold and give her flowers. And that's the role that Jennifer Hudson got an Oscar for. Now, granted, she hasn't done that many movies, but still, just makes you wonder. Just makes you wonder. And with that being said, I am going to do more research on my theory, hypothesis, and all of that, and my opinion that I done, dropped here. And y'all be sure to drop y'all thoughts and opinions in the comments also. And child, with that being said, if I do say so myself, I have milked this cow dry. And I am thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first back through these sippy hippie quotas for the next time. And be sure to bless my comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you all light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.